Welcome back. In this video, we're going to be working on some kneeling poses. So before you get started, a couple of things that might be helpful is to grab a couple of blocks. If you don't have blocks, no problem. A couple of books will work, but we will be sitting on them, so you want something sturdy. And also, sometimes it's helpful to have a blanket for a little extra cushion for your knees. All right, to get started, finding that comfortable seated position. We're thinking about lengthening through the spine. We're keeping the shoulders relaxed. We'll take just a couple of quick cleansing breaths just to get ourselves settled. So close those eyes, take a deep inhaling breath through the nose, and as you exhale forcefully through the mouth, we're thinking about letting go of any tension or stress with each exhale. Gently opening those eyes, we're going to come into our tabletop position. So you can either roll over those knees, coming onto all fours, or you can sweep those feet around to one side, making your way to table. In our table position, we want our hands and knees about hip distance apart, and we want to try to get our shoulders stacked over our wrists and our hips over our knees. That way we're utilizing our bone structure for stability. Taking and spreading those fingertips open nice and wide. We're going to start by curling the toes under. Now in our cat-cow, especially as you get further in your pregnancy, we don't want to over-exaggerate or arch that back too much. The weight of the baby already is pulling down, but we want a nice relaxed back. I'm going to pull the heel of the hand towards the knees, which draws the shoulders away from the ears, and gently lifting my gaze. As I exhale, point the toes, pressing the ground away, spreading the shoulder blades, bringing the chin to the chest, the belly towards the spine, and I'm tilting my hips forward as much as possible. Inhale, curl the toes under, relax the back, pull the heel of the hands towards the knees, shoulders away from the ears, lifting the gaze. Exhale, point the toes, press the ground away to spread the shoulder blades, chin to the chest, baby to spine, tilting those hips forward. We'll take a couple of breaths here on your own. Go ahead and close your eyes. You're just moving nice and slow. Coming back to a neutral spine. From here, we're going to be coming into a tail wag. And we're going to do that by tilting. I have my right hip here, right hip tilts forward, and right shoulder goes back as if I was going to touch my shoulder to my hip and hip to shoulder. I've created a C shape with my spine. This will be our exhale. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, left shoulder towards left hip. And I'm looking over my shoulder as I exhale. Right shoulder to right hip, looking over the right shoulder. Inhale, neutral spine. Exhale, looking over the opposite side. So continue moving nice and slow. I'm going to turn towards the camera just so you can see what this looks like from a different view. So exhale, shoulder towards hip, hip towards shoulder. Inhale, center. Exhale to the opposite side, just moving side to side. Couple little tail wags. Come back to that neutral position. And one more thing I want to add. So during pregnancy, we have a tendency to have a lot of swelling in our joints. So if that's the case, you can come up onto making fists, coming up onto the knuckles, create a straight line from the shoulder on down. That can help to ease some comfort in the wrists. Or you can think about as if you're palming a basketball, so kind of gripping more with the tips of your fingers. That also can help take some weight off of those wrists. So there's another variation. All right, so we're going to come back to our table position, and then I'm going to shift my hips as far as I can to the right, as far as I can to the left, so shifting from side to side. We'll do a few hip circles, both directions. Slowing that movement down. Now from here, we're going to move into thread the needle. So I like to utilize a block for thread the needle. It elevates the head, and especially during pregnancy, you have a tendency to be congested. So this can alleviate some of that sinus pressure and also gives you a little extra space to move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my block, I'm going to place it towards my right hand. As I inhale, sweeping my left arm up towards the ceiling, I'm going to thread this left arm under the right, dropping the left ear down to the block. And then from here, I'm pressing into my right hand to roll my right shoulder up towards the ceiling. So I get a nice twist in that upper spine. Making sure that you're comfortable, making sure that you can breathe. Spending just a couple of moments here in that nice stretch through the shoulders. And when we're ready to come out, we're going to press into this right hand, draw this left arm out, bring it up towards the ceiling, and exhale that left hand back down, and we'll switch sides. Moving that block over towards that left hand, we'll sweep that right arm up towards the ceiling. As we exhale, letting that right hand thread underneath the left, dropping the right arm down to the block, keeping those hips high. I'm going to press into my left hand to gently roll that left shoulder up towards the ceiling. Again, getting that nice stretch through the shoulders. And when you're ready to come out of the pose, I'm pressing into that left hand to lift myself up, bringing that right arm back up towards the ceiling, and exhale back down. Beautiful. Go ahead and shift those hips a couple of times to the right, a couple of times to the left. We're going to move into child's pose from here. So I like to utilize blocks, especially during pregnancy, for child's pose, because sometimes it's hard to get your hips down to the heels in child's pose. So a block, a bolster, pillows blanket can be helpful. So you can roll up a blanket, put it in between your heels. You can place your books, your block in between the heels so that you can sit comfortably down. Now you might need to add a blanket on top of a block. You might need to add a few things to elevate those hips up, which are just fine. Once we have found a comfortable seated position, we're going to take our knees nice and wide, making room for the baby. So normally in child's pose, we'd come down, we'd walk those hands out, we'd let our chest drop, we'd let our forehead drop down towards the ground. But during pregnancy, as the baby gets bigger, that's not an option. So a couple of things that you can do instead. You can stack fists, one on top of each other, so that when you come down, you can rest your forehead on your fists. That's one option. Another option would be to grab a second block, a blanket, a pillow, something to rest your head on. So I'm going to use a second block to demonstrate, and remembering that there's 3 different heights on our blocks. So there's the flat, which is the lowest. If you turn it on its side, it comes up a little bit, and if you take it on its end, it's even higher. So remembering that when in all of our poses, you can just adjust your block if you need different heights. So I'm going to utilize my block for mine. I'm going to sit up nice and tall. I'm going to walk my hands forward, bringing myself down, placing my forehead on my block, letting my arms extend out, let my shoulders relax, and I'm just going to settle into my child's pose. So we're going to take a few breaths here. So go ahead and stay in your pose. I always like to add movement to any of my poses, especially during pregnancy. So I always encourage you, shift the hips from side to side, move the shoulders from side to side, maybe come back into that head and neck. Feel free to add movement at any time in any of the poses, but just move slowly in to and out of the poses. So we don't want any fast movements. So moving nice and slow, shifting the hips, maybe rolling the shoulders, rolling the neck. Another breath here. And then to come on up out of the pose, I'm going to look up between my hands. I'm going to walk my hands back towards me, shift my weight forward, bring my knees back underneath me. And again, a quick shift of the hips from right to left. Once we're back in our table position, I'm going to place our blocks off to the side. I'm going to shift my hips as far as I can to the right, as far as I can to the left. Maybe make circles with the hips, both directions. And next, I'm going to walk my hands just slightly over to the left and shifting my weight to my left leg so that I can get my right foot forward towards the front of my mat. Once I'm here, I'm going to walk my hands forward, bringing myself into a low lunge. So I'm shifting my weight forward and down so I can get a nice stretch through the front of that left hip and that left hip flexor, left psoas. I'm also, again, you can add movement, so shifting the hips from right to left. Next, think about rocking your hips or shifting your hips in a kind of a semicircle or twist. So right hip forward, left hip back, moving nice and slow. And now we're going to shift our weight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk my hands. I'll show you here both ways. I'm going to walk my hands back, bringing the toes up, pointing towards the ceiling. So I'm straightening this leg. I'm keeping my hips roughly over that back knee as I walk my hands back, and then walk forward, coming back to that low lunge. You can also use your blocks, walking those hands back towards that left knee, lifting the right toes, and walking back forward. I'm going to turn towards the camera so you can see what it looks like from the front. So keep moving, nice and slow, walking those hands forward, shifting that weight, walking those blocks back, shifting that weight back. So nice, easy forward and back movement. You can even hold. So as I walk my hands back, my toes are pointed up towards the ceiling. I can take my blocks, either keep them to the inside of that leg, front leg, or take one to the outside. Sometimes that feels a little bit more stable, sitting up nice and tall, and then hinging at the hip, gently folding over that front leg. Shoulders relaxed, elbows relaxed. Feel that nice stretch in the hamstring and the calf. We'll bring ourselves on up, and then to come out of the pose, I'm going to bend that front knee, walk my blocks forward, bring that front foot back to meet the left, and we'll take everything to the opposite side. So from here, in my table position, walking my hands over to the right slightly so I can bring my left leg forward. I'm shifting my hips forward and down, that nice long lunge. And here, you notice that my front knee is roughly in line with the ankle. We don't want it too far out in front. That changes the stretch. We're roughly in line with the knee, in line with the ankle for now. And if we need to adjust, you can even slide that back knee back or scoot the front toes forward, so you can make little adjustments that way. But I'm shifting my hips forward and down. Think about elongating the spine, so lengthening the crown of the head forward, and I'm just keeping my vision down at the ground, keeping that head in line with the spine. Adding that movement, shifting my hips from right to left. That gentle twisting motion, so right hip, left hip sweeping forward and back. And then we can add that front to back movement. So again, you can use just your hands to walk your hands back towards that knee, back knee, lifting those front toes, walking those hands forward, or we can utilize those blocks, using those blocks to help us elevating that upper body so that we can walk the hands forward and back. Let's do that a couple more times. I'm going to turn towards the camera. And the next time that you find yourself walking back towards that back knee, I'm going to keep my hips up over that back knee. We're going to take that hand, that inside hand, take it to the outside of that front leg, lengthening through the spine and folding. Come out of the pose, I'm gently going to lift myself up, bend that front knee, walk my hands forward, and then transition that front knee back into our table position. All right, I'm going to turn to the side here. So back in that table position one more time, shifting the hips from side to side. And then to come out of the pose, you can either cross the ankles and roll back, or you can walk the knees to one side, drop the hip, and sweep the feet around to come back to a comfortable seated position. So we'll take just a moment here, comfortably seated, so whether that's cross-legged, legs out straight, out wide, doesn't matter. We're going to sit up nice and tall. We're going to relax those shoulders, taking just a moment to one more time calm and quiet the mind and connect with the baby. So placing that hand on the belly, giving that baby a gentle hug, placing one hand on the heart. We'll take 3 deep breaths, and we're going to say to ourselves, I'm strong, I am confident, I am capable. Go ahead and close your eyes. Gently opening the eyes. Hopefully you feel a little bit better than when you started. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.